Welcome back. It is Wednesday, March 6th in the NBA. Our three best bets are on the way. Of course, you guys know I'm Austin, but we are joined by Logan, who's been dialed in recently. And we're going to give you our favorite picks. And let's just recap yesterday, Logan. You did wonderful. You went 2-0 on your picks. I went 1-1 on mine. Let's talk with it. Your first pick of the day, I mean, everyone hated it. Cavaliers plus 7.5. You could have gotten at 8.5. It didn't matter. They went outright. They were down like 15, 17 going into the fourth, and you had a Dean Wade masterclass, and he carried them. I don't. Hey, the fix was put in. The Cavs came through. You also had that wonderful little the other pick in terms of you took the Pelicans Raptors over 228.5. Pretty a little sweaty, but they end up clearing that line pretty easily. And then my prop of the day was Durant's over in points plus assist. He cashed. Our only loser was Bogdanovic's over in threes. Shot 6 threes, just only made one of them. Should have taken Bojan Bogdanovic. He made like 4 or 5 threes, but a 3 in one day. We did have 5 picks. Maxey was our 5th pick. He did not play. He was ruled out early in the day, but takes us up to 43.52 units. Logan, we're on an 8-2 run. And I say we continue that momentum today. Logan, you got 2 picks. You've been dialed in. We're going to let you hopefully stay hot today. And I know your first pick, everyone is absolutely going to love. What team are you backing today?
Yesterday, as you mentioned, people really hated on me fading the red hot Celtics. But in the NBA, you just have to find value in some of these lines. And I'm finding value in a bad team today. A really, really bad team. Taking the Wizards plus 8.5, minus 115 odds on BetMGM, currently your best value there. Now, if you're looking at this one, you're like, Logan, the Wizards, man, they're on a nasty losing streak. You really want to back them? At this point, don't be that team, right? That's the famous words of Kyle Kuzma, who's getting a mouthful of karma right now. This is the spot, though, I feel comfortable backing a team like the Washington Wizards. Why? Because Orlando is on the back end of a back-to-back. And Orlando on the back end of a back-to-back, they've done pretty bad this year. Orlando is just 3-9 straight up with 0 rest. The value in this game, to me, is with the home underdog. And I find a ton of value in underdogs in the NBA because it's just it's a sport like baseball, too. The favorite doesn't always win. I know. I hate to tell you that, but that's just that's how basketball works. There you go, for all the people out there who remember that. In Washington's last game versus Utah, they looked really great for 3 quarters. Then the fatigue and the altitude set in, and they just couldn't make a shot. It was tragic to watch because it almost, if you guys remember, it almost screwed our over because Washington put up a big 14 points in the fourth quarter of that game. Orlando has won all 3 matchups in this series so far this year, but they're playing against a team this time in free fall that's just back at home and wants to stop the skid. It's like this to me, it's kind of like a now or never. Yes, you could say, well, Washington's best chance to get off the skid is against a better team or a worse team like, the Hornets or a Pistons team like that. But there's value in betting them against a team like Orlando because Orlando's been great against the spread. They just great at covering. Last night they covered against the Hornets once again. And I just really like what I see from this Wizards offense, led by Tyus, Kuzma. Jordan Poole's finally learned how to make shots. Crazy to think that he can finally go out and score and not just be a bum. But if the Wizards can give us some defense, Orlando's offense shouldn't run away with this one. Why? Because Orlando's offense, not the best at all. They're only averaging 108.5 points scored on 0 rest. Tired legs affect jump shots. It's just how that's kind of the nature of what we've seen this year. These teams aren't making shots at such a high clip when they're coming off of 0 rest. And on the season, Orlando's road offense is 26th in points scored, 27th in 3-point made percentage, and 30th in free throw percentage. I've always mentioned this. Orlando's not a good free throw shooting team. When those potential cover points come late in the game, Orlando's not the team I actually want being fouled because there's just a lot of guys on their team that just don't shoot free throws all that well. My point is that since Orlando is on the road, their offense should not be as effective with players like Gary Harris and Jalen Suggs not being as potent on the road. Gary Harris and Jalen Suggs just can't miss when I bet against Orlando in Orlando. Now being on the road, those supporting cast type players, they just don't shoot as well. And that's kind of where I think Washington has the advantage here. They're going to have to get it done on offense. They're going to have to find ways to score on Orlando. But I think they actually do hang around with Orlando. I think they make this game competitive. You're getting 8.5 points to just go out and not get embarrassed at home. You've been embarrassed game in and game out. Can you break the trend? Can you stop the skid a little bit? I think they do. I think they cover for us today. I'm not calling the money line, but I don't know. You'll find value on a team like this on the money line because just like what we saw with the Pistons, they don't lose in perpetuity. Eventually, they do break the skid. I do think the Wizards cover the 8.5 for us. That's a ton of points. But Austin, throwing it to you. What's your favorite pick today?
Yeah, Logan, love the pick. Obviously, I like backing an underdog here at home. Everyone always hates that you're backing strictly underdogs, but there's a lot of value in that spot. So hopefully the Wizards offense shows up. And like you said, Poole coming off the bench has been like he's found his rhythm. So hopefully he can get it done. Now, I only have one prop today. We're going to dive right into it. I really like this guy today, and he's going to be the guy on the thumbnail because it is De'Aaron Fox. I really like his over 31.5 points plus assists. It's almost an identical line to my favorite play yesterday, which was Kevin Durant. Now, let's hope Fox shoots a little bit more efficiently than Durant because Durant legitimately could not buy a bucket last night. He was like 10 for 28 at some point, but the volume ended up carrying him over, which is kind of what we talked about. Now, let's talk about Fox, who will be taking on the LA Lakers, which we'll talk about that matchup in a second. But we've backed Fox a few times. We did back him, I think, 2 games ago when he did not play, but he is back. He's not on the injury report here, and he returned against a very tough matchup in the Chicago Bulls. And in that game, the Bulls have been one of the toughest matchups for point guards pretty much all season long because they got Alex Caruso out there. But he had 20 points, 10 assists, so did go under this line by 2, but he shot 8 for 16, 39 minutes. Like I said, not a good matchup versus the Bulls, who are a super slow playing team. Now against the Lakers, a team that does like to push the pace a little bit more than that. And we've seen, prior to just that game against the Bulls, Fox had crushed the line, going over in 5 straight, shooting 18 or more times in all 5. And really, he had 46, 38, 37, 40, 33. So really crushing this line, sometimes hitting the over in just points alone. Now, today, like I said, they're on the road in LA taking on the Lakers. And for whatever reason, we've seen Fox step up his game just another notch here. And the books are expecting some points in this game. We've seen a lot of unders cashing lately, but this is an over-under at 238.5, the highest on the slate. The next closest is like 226.5. So they're expecting points in this contest. Then I think on the road, Fox is going to have to show up. And when we think about guys like Keegan Murray, he sucked on the road. You never know what you're getting from Kevin Huerter, Harrison Barnes, heck, even the bench, or even Sabonis, who's going to have AD on him. I think Fox is going to have to be that guy that's going to be like, all right, I got to carry the load here. And we've seen last 8 games versus LA, Fox averaging over 30 points per game, averaging an additional 7 assists per game. And he's had 36, 33, 44, 28, 43, 37, and I believe this year 45 and 33 points plus assists against the Lakers, going over in 7 of 8. And his only miss was a game he shot only 7 for 13 at 28. Like, he's had a lot of high usage games in there with like 20, 22 field goal attempts. And that's all we're asking for Fox, is that he's aggressive. And we've seen guards have pretty good games against him. Recently, SGA, terrible game against him. That was a back-to-back. He just didn't play too well. But prior to that, Jamal Murray had like 23 and 12 against them. Jordan Poole, Logan already talked about, he had a crazy game against them off the bench. Harden even had 32 points plus assists. So a lot of guys have had some pretty good games against them. I also like about Fox is that he plays a lot of minutes with the second unit. You typically see him like starting the second quarter, starting the fourth quarter. That's when Anthony Davis is going to be off the court. So you don't have as much rim protection down low. You also have LeBron pushing the pace in those sort of situations. Number 2, even when AD is in, we know he plays a lot of drop coverage. I really think Fox can just walk into the mid-range shot, which we know that's what he likes to get to. I really think he's going to have some open opportunities tonight. So my favorite prop of the night, I could force some more picks, but I'm only going to do this one prop. I really like De'Aaron Fox. If you want to just take an individual line, points is obviously the way to go because we're going to need points. We're not going to get, a 15 point and 17 assists. That's not happening for Fox. So we're going to need close to 24 points probably at least, but I really think the points plus assists is a little bit preferred just because I really think there's a good chance Fox to go out there and at least get a 6 assists, but I think you can maybe get a 7, 8, 9, even a 10 assist type game would not surprise me a ton. So De'Aaron Fox, my favorite prop of the day. But Logan, you got a second play. Let's hopefully hope you can go 2-0. What's your second one going to be? Give it to the people.
Yeah, for my second play, I'm taking a team total prop. I'm taking the Bulls team total under 113.5, minus 115 odds on Bet365. Your best value there. Now, I would consider playing this one down to 112.5 if it does tick down slightly, or maybe the line goes in the reverse direction. Then you can take it wherever you want because the full game total has actually been bet down from 230 all the way down to 223. So we've seen line movement there, kind of crazy line movement there. The Bulls just scored 113 in a crazy comeback win against the Kings, so that would have went under on the hook. Now we find ourselves fading the rare road favorite Bulls. That line just looks weird. And it looks really weird seeing the Bulls as road favorites, but it makes sense because they're facing an absolute mash unit on the other side. The Jazz have nobody healthy. But the last time the Bulls were able to string together 2 straight games of hitting this over was 10 games ago, back on February 8th, I believe, in Memphis in that game. So the Bulls, my point is, they're not consistent to hitting this number. We just got to fade it. It's like a percentage play. With so many injuries for the Jazz, they're going to have to play some players who aren't established scorers. My thought process in that is, if you're not going to be able to score, because a lot of these players, let's just call it what it is, they're going to go out and they're going to have some really ugly jump shots or whatever, or maybe they're scorched earth, who knows? But they have to at least give effort on the defensive end. They're not going to give some superstar type status where they just stand around and kind of watch players on the Bulls score. No, they're going to go out and they're going to be pretty scrappy. They need to earn that playing time and earn their way into this league, right? We know the Jazz defense has been suspect most of the year, but Chicago plays at such a slow pace. They actually think that neutralizes it. Chicago's 29th in pace. So this is a slow playing team. And my point is, even if the Jazz do give up points on each of the Bulls possessions, it still might not be enough. They're going to have to give up points and some. Hopefully Utah does take care of the basketball in this one, and not give Chicago some like easy breakaway dunks and layups and stuff on that end. Chicago only averages 111 points on the road. We just need them to be below average in this game, which they were just below average last game. Or they were just above average last game, but they still went under this line, which is my point. I think this line's still a little bit inflated just because of how bad Utah has been a lot of the year. But on the season, Utah's defense is 12th best in field goal percentage allowed at home. Opposing teams tend to shoot worse in Utah. I've mentioned it. It's that home court advantage that we talked about in that Wizards game. The shots just didn't fall in the fourth. They had no legs to them at all. And that's kind of why Utah's been so good ATS at home, is because these opposing teams come in and they just can't survive 4 quarters in Utah. It's a tough place to play. From the eyeball test too, this Bulls offense just lacks continuity. I would know because I picked the Bulls team total over against the Bucks, and it had me scratching my head like, wow, what was I doing? Like, this team's pretty nasty. A lot of the time I just don't know who's going to get the shot. It could be a Vucevic hook shot. It could be a Vucevic top of the key shot. It could be DeMar going one-on-one ISO. It's not a good continuity offense. There's some teams that you watch around the league that just know how to swing, get open guys and run good plays. Bulls aren't that team. So I will happily fade them. And the last point we saw was just what I mentioned. The Wizards, just 14 points scored in the fourth quarter. Let that sink in. I mean, a lot of these good offensive teams still struggle in Utah. I classify Chicago as a bad offensive team. And here they are as favorites, because when they are favorites, obviously their team total is higher than Utah. I think we see a lower scoring game. I just think this one's more of a slugfest, taking their team total under as my second pick.
Yeah, Logan, I love the pick. I told you I was going to consider taking DeMar DeRozan's under in points. So hopefully those kind of go hand in hand. I really like the team total under for the Bulls. We got Wizards plus 8.5, and we got De'Aaron Fox's over in points plus assists. Those are our 3 favorite picks of the day. Let's hopefully go 3-0, making an 11-2 run. Hopefully you guys have been making some money with us. If you have, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, drop a like. A couple other videos on the screen if you want to go check them out. It's Austin Logan. We're signing out. We'll see you guys back again tomorrow for Thursday's edition of Picks. Peace.